Hello, neighbor. Welcome to Somerville Community Access Television and our community service production show called Hello, Neighbor. We invite people into the studio or out on the field and learn a little bit more about what residents or community groups or other organizations are up to. So welcome. And today we are in the presence of Emily Squared, which I've received permission to call them that, so it is not by any means, you know. And they are with Scout Somerville, and they are the new editors, and you started about
October
of
last year. Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, so let's go into a little bit about how you guys got involved in Scout Somerville and what kind of led up to that point that you took on the editorial role.
So we were working at the same bookstore, actually,
Cool.
and we had graduated from journalism school, but in Boston, as I'm sure you know, there aren't a lot of opportunities for young journalists to get paid work that can actually sustain them. So we were kind of struggling with that, and I had a friend who at the time was about to leave Scout and called me on the phone and said, "Do you want to do this?" And luckily, our publisher saw something in us, and
that's always a good sign.
We interviewed, and then we started working there, and we pushed out the November-December issue.
Yeah, in a very short time
frame.
And then we figured that if we could do that in about, we had like 3 weeks?
2 or 3 weeks to do an entire
That's
issue
very
that
impressive.
takes 2 months.
Yeah,
usually.
So if we could handle that, we could handle anything. And it was still fun after we had done it in that time frame. It couldn't possibly get worse.
Yes, exactly. So that's how we came to Scout.
Yeah.
So you guys knew each other prior, though?
We did, yeah.
That's really nice. That's a nice, like, symbiotic, and then you continued forward into your new position.
It worked really well. We had edited each other's work before, read each other's pieces, tweeted out each other's pieces, and
yeah, I think that we realized that what the Scout was looking for was a collaboration between editors, and what I realized and eventually the publisher realized is that this was a really good fit because we were friends already, we'd worked together, we were producing more work before we had met each other. It's a little magical, I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like that's such a unique, I don't know, I guess partnership that you don't normally see, where you're working in a bookstore before and then you go into another job that's
weird.
relatively, I mean, you're using your education, obviously, but that you're still continuously like working together and you clearly have like a good energy and a flow.
it was really just happenstance that we ended up in the same place at the same time and wanted really similar things from our careers.
Yeah, I mean, I look at, from like a broader standpoint, I just look at the types of pairs that you see in like represented in media already, and you have things like Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, you have Broad City.
We're basically that funny.
You are!
We have, you know, those partnerships, and, you know, reading the narratives that these women have talked about their careers, it is very applicable to our lives, I think, is when you find like that partner in crime and you have someone to back you up, to help you move forward, to support you always. So honestly, it's made Scout better. Every issue has gotten at least twice as good as the issue previous, which is actually why we're here today, because we're so excited about the issue that's coming out. Yeah,
and so there was a special edition, Fierce Over 40. And I believe our own executive director has...
She is, yes.
Right? She has a presence in there. Wendy Blum, our executive director. She's been here for over 10 years or so. So what's going on with that? How did you discover, I guess, the idea to pursue that as a story?
Sure. So that was kind of... it was my idea, but it was a collaborative effort between everyone on the staff. We do a lot at Scout, as I'm sure people who read the magazine know, with what's shiny and new in this city. We literally have a section that's called What's New, and we focus on the brand new things that are cropping up around town, and that tends to skew really young. It's definitely not necessarily serving everyone in the community in that way. And we know a lot of wonderful Somerville residents and people who work and live in the city that have been doing great work for years and years and years, sort of the unsung heroes of this municipality, and we just wanted to have a reason to shout them out and to shout a whole group of them out at once.
That's great.
Show them we care.
Yeah.
A nod.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a really popular magazine that I think holds a lot of weight. And like you said, you're targeting a demographic, right, that might be accustomed to certain stories, but it's a similar approach, but you're kind of being like, look at this group of people who might go under the radar.
Well, yeah, I think that one of the challenges with Scout is that we have a huge ground to cover in such a small space, and we have our audience is everyone. You know, we like a lot of other publications are going for younger people or older people or in between, but we are everyone's magazine. So trying to balance, and then being young ourselves, we can admittedly do get stuck reporting on things that are skewed towards the tech culture or the new restaurants or the new breweries, whatever.
There's a bottom line.
Yeah. But yeah, we also want this to be, as much as our magazine, we edit it, like we want it to be the communities as well. So representing those people was really important to us.
Yeah.
Right. That's great. And what was the process like to going about like collecting the stories? I'm sure that you have some good stories to share about that.
Emily has the most credit for this. She actually did all of the interviews for this and the writing.
So in Somerville, I think I interviewed 13 people more actually, because for space constraints, we actually couldn't fit all of the phenomenal stories that we got in the issue. So just for the over 40 feature, I think I altogether spoke to maybe 19 people, and we did the same story in Cambridge in our Cambridge edition, which we also published. So it was another 12 or 13 community members there. It was a lot of talking to people, and it was a lot of just going out and asking people in the community for their thoughts about who was doing really great work and maybe wasn't getting the recognition that they deserved. Or
so people recommended those who have been
people who we knew already, who we were like, we would love to talk to you further about your work for this, or people who had given us shout outs before, like, you know, you really should be talking to so-and-so.
You know, our publisher helped us connect to people, our office manager, right? Yeah. And so,
Melinda.
You know, we just asked people who do you know who's great, and Cassel interviewed them.
Yeah, and I mean, really, this community is so wonderful and so vibrant, and there's so many different types of people doing so many different kinds of work. Like, there really are no two stories in the over 40 feature that are even remotely similar. Everyone has such a different perspective and a unique take on life in this city and the work that they're doing, that it was
And
really
you're
great.
focusing on like groups that have been around, because you're talking about kind of like the new and shiny stories, and there's the new pop-ups, the new tech businesses, but these are groups or individuals who have been kind of rooted in the history and the richness of what Somerville, because that's what we hear a lot, is Somerville is rich in the diversity and its culture, and these are some of the people who have helped to get it, you know, through their own campaigns or, you know, efforts to that place, which is really wonderful. Yeah. And I like that you also are very collaborative and inviting the community to participate in like suggesting those people who would be like a good story, and like you do that with the Scout Awards, the Scout.
Yeah, Scouts Honored is coming up. Yeah, so our next issue, which is going to hit mailboxes, I think next week.
Yeah,
late this week, early next week. It's got, we're voting on, the nominees were decided in our last issue, in between our last issue cycle, and they're all community-based nominations. You know, we didn't help anything along, so now it's just the community gets to decide who to recognize. Again, a recognition of their favorite places. So it's really nice.
There'll be a big event to commemorate.
There will be, yep. So nominees and winners will be able to enjoy it at the Marriott in Cambridge. But most importantly, we want people to get out and vote, because we want lots of people voting. We want voting is open until
the 25th.
Okay.
And
of July.
Okay. And you can vote online at scoutsomerville.com/vote or scoutcambridge.com/vote if you are in Cambridge or have any feelings about Cambridge that you'd like to express.
Equal opportunists.
Yes. But yeah, we really are excited to recognize some of these folks. I mean, we get just walking on the street and seeing people displaying that Scouts Honored, you know, sticker in their window. It feels really good for us, and we're really glad that people are
We'll find value in it.
Absolutely. And I think it's great, you know, Boston Magazine just had their Best of Boston Awards come out, and those are great, but as far as I know, that's, you know, their staff sort of determines those. This is a little bit different in that we give it to the people, and you get to tell us with your votes who you think really deserves it.
It's true democracy. That's what Scout Somerville stands for.
Yes.
Is there anything else about the issue that people could look forward to? You want to give some teasers about?
Yeah, totally. There are a couple things that I'm really excited about. One of them is we did a small feature on the Ladies of Comicazi, which is, so a group of 4 women who started blogging about comics and the comic world and some of the things that are tangentially related to that. And they, you know, started doing events at Comikazi, but they're all about just trying to make the comics world, which can be a little bit, can skew a little bit, you know, masculine, or, you know, it can be a little bit exclusionary. They want it to be a safe space for women, for people of all types, and they also want people who are interested not to be intimidated.
That's great.
So, and they speak so highly of the community they found at Comikazi. And the layout, our designer, Nicole Rennick, did a phenomenal job, and it's really, really beautiful.
Yeah, that's an exciting piece.
Yeah.
So then there's also the layout component.
Yeah.
So there's the story, and there's also the design.
Well, we give our text to our designer, and our designer brings it back into this beautiful.
She's a wizard.
Here's the Word document, and then it comes out like.
Yeah, exactly.
She's incredible.
And then the other piece I'm really excited about as well is. We did a little bit of a history on the Tufts labor issues. I know, I'm sure many in Somerville remember earlier this summer, the 5 students did a hunger strike in trying to protect the janitors from job cuts. Turns out, Scout found that Tufts has a history of this, so we got to dig in a little bit into that history, and we talked a little bit about higher education and how you know, some institutions of higher education are becoming a little bit more corporately structured. But it's really interesting, and I think that's one of the cool things about Scout is that we may not be able to do breaking news, right? But we get to dig into these stories a little bit.
You have opportunities like investigative style.
Investigative stuff, or to find, you know, the Ladies of Comicazi, that little, like,
it's a niche.
Yeah, exactly. And we get the opportunity to just hang back and develop those stories, which is really nice.
Your job sounds fun.
We're looking for freelancers.
We are.
This is on the air. For anyone out there in the TV world. Somerville Neighborhood News did a couple segments about the Tufts Labor Coalition as well. So it was definitely a popular kind of focus of trying to figure out what's going on. So that's
actually,
good.
It's a story that's 2 decades old, which is kind of phenomenal.
Wow.
So definitely stay tuned for that because I think it's really interesting.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show. And is there any other information you want to part to the viewers, like resources and?
Well, talk to us.
Yeah, that's really it.
Yeah.
That's a great recommendation.
You know, like send us your events, send us your stories, send us a letter to tell us something you didn't like. Scout at scoutmagazines.com. We read every email. We try to get back to everyone, and we'd love to have.
I can vouch for that. You are very responsive to my emails.
we want to know what you guys want. You know, it's a big city, and we can't be everywhere all the time. So let us know.
Cool. Well, thank you so much again. And website?
ScoutSomerville.com.
All right. Cool. That's it for Hello Neighbor.